Barbara Coloroso is a well-known author, teacher, and parent. She has written 3 best-selling novels, including Kids Are Worth It, Giving Your Child the Gift of Inner Discipline. In this book, she outlines her ideas on how to help your child achieve her idea of inner discipline. She bases her idea on 3 main principles. The first is that kids are worth it. It takes time and patience to instill kids with the inner discipline she believes will provide them with the structure to behave correctly. The second principle is, I will not treat a child in a way I myself would not want to be treated. This, in essence, is the golden rule just applied to how you treat children. Her third principle is, if it works and leaves a child's and my own dignity intact, do it. This principle echoes Kerwin and Mendler's discipline with dignity. She believes there is a way to discipline a child without degrading them. Besides the 3 main principles, she also believes that it is imperative to help students make their own decisions and take responsibility for those actions. In Coloroso's book, she describes the 3 main styles of schools, teachers, and families. The first is the brick wall type. They are very strict in their methods. They use power and punishment to control children. They also utilize humiliation, threats, and bribes to make them follow the rules. The second style is called the jellyfish style. They provide little structure and have a lax discipline style as well. They let children have their way, and they have very little faith in the children as well. The last style is the backbone style. They provide both the support and structure necessary for students to think through problems and correct their mistakes. They also foster the type of behavior that allows students to learn how to think and act independently. Coloroso believes that instead of controlling children, we need to be more influential, because by being influential, we are allowing students to think for themselves. Coloroso states, students must learn how to think, not just what to think. To achieve this influential status, she believes using encouragement is very helpful. Some key phrases she stresses that teachers should use are, I believe in you. I trust in you. I know you can handle this. You are cared for. You are very important to me. By using these in your classroom, she believes that the children will feel inspired to take the steps possible in forming inner discipline. Coloroso states there are 3 different types of misbehavior. The first are mistakes. They are small errors. They don't intend to break the rules, it just happens, like accidents. Mistakes provide a good learning opportunity. Mischief, on the other hand, is intentional. Students purposely break the rules, but in a minor way. Whereas mayhem is serious. They intentionally misbehave, and it could possibly be harmful to people and or property. Coloroso also differentiates punishment from discipline. She believes it is more effective to discipline children rather than to punish them. She defines punishment as adult-oriented and requires judgment on the part of the adult. Punishment imposes the adult's power over the child, and it also arouses anger and resentment. Discipline, on the other hand, shows children what they have done. It gives them ownership of the problem and gives them options for solving that problem. Discipline should leave their dignity intact and use logical and realistic consequences. Coloroso believes there are 3 things necessary for teachers to have good discipline. The first is that the teacher needs to treat the child with respect and dignity. Secondly, it should also allow the child to believe they have control over their own lives. And lastly, the teacher should give them an opportunity to make decisions about the behavior, make them take responsibility for those actions their decision dictates, and learn from both their mistakes and their successes. By utilizing the proper discipline techniques, it should do 4 things. The first is that it should show students what they have done wrong. Secondly, students will have taken the necessary responsibility for the problems they created. It should also provide children with ways to solve those problems. And lastly, again, she stresses it should leave their dignity intact. Coloroso states, discipline with authority means to give life learning. Our goal as teachers is to give life to our children's learning, to instruct, to teach, to help them develop self-discipline, an ordering of the self from the inside, not imposition from the outside. Coloroso gives 3 ways to assist students in taking responsibility for their actions. They are called the 3 R's. The first is restitution. In this stage, students need to correct any harm that was done. The second R is resolution. Students need to identify and correct the behavior that caused the misbehavior. And the third R is for reconciliation. Students should apologize and make amends with the people their misbehavior affected. Consequences are important in the discipline process. Coloroso believes that if a situation is not life-threatening, morally threatening, nor is it unhealthy, a teacher should let the natural consequence happen. She gives the example: if a student puts their shoes on the wrong feet, don't tell them. Their feet will naturally hurt, and they will find the correct way to remedy their situation. If the natural consequence won't work, or if there is harm that can be created from this type of misbehavior, then teachers should implement the RSVP model of consequences. R is for, is it reasonable? S is for, is it simple? V, is it valuable as a learning tool? And finally, P, is it practical? Interdiscipline is a manageable approach to effective discipline. It is humanistic, and it focuses on preserving dignity and a sense of self-worth within the students. Coloroso believes it is through experiences with these qualities that students develop inner discipline. As a quick review, the parts for inner discipline are identifying what type of teacher you need to be. Identify what type of misbehavior is happening. The need to be influential rather than controlling. Encourage your students. Discipline over punishment. The 3 things necessary for good discipline. The 3 R's. And finally, to be able to know when to use natural consequences or when to use the RSVP model. Coloroso says we need to encourage members of this next generation to become all that they can become, not try to force them to become what we want them to become. You and I can't even begin to dream the dreams this next generation is going to dream, or answer the questions that will be put to them.